Choosing the right person to walk with you on a healing journey, that's one of the most important decisions you can possibly make. So, in this explainer, we're going to give you the tools to find someone who isn't just qualified, but is actually safe, humble, and truly accountable. Let's get equipped to choose wisely. First things first, let's just acknowledge something huge. Seeking help is an act of profound courage. So if you're even watching this, you've already taken an incredibly brave step. And vetting a counselor, that isn't about being skeptical or untrusting. It's about being a wise steward of your own story and your own well-being. All right, so let's dive in. We've got a really clear roadmap here. We're going to move from the why, this is so important, to the how, you can actually do it, giving you a powerful framework for making a truly safe choice. So let's start by totally reframing this whole process. You are not being difficult or untrusting by asking tough questions. Far from it. You are being a wise and responsible steward of your own story. You have every single right to do this. Think about it. This isn't like hiring a plumber. When you're in a moment of deep vulnerability, when fear is maybe at its loudest, the person you trust with your story, well, they hold a sacred responsibility. Your goal here is to find someone who truly gets the weight of that trust. Okay, now we are getting to the absolute core of this whole thing. Seriously, forget about specific techniques or fancy degrees for just a second. The single most critical factor for your safety is the counselor's internal posture, their fundamental attitude. Is it one of humility or is it one of performative certainty? And listen, sincerity is just not enough. Good intentions, that's a great starting point, for sure, but it is no substitute for a humble, teachable spirit. A counselor who's driven by pride and this need to be certain, even with the best intentions in the world, is a counselor who can cause significant harm. And this slide just lays it out so clearly. The two postures side by side, are they performing certainty, acting like an expert who has all the answers? Or are they operating from a place of humility, recognizing that they're also on a journey? At the end of the day, their humility is your protection. And this posture of humility, it really shows up in how they handle scripture. A safe counselor won't just throw spiritual band-aids at you or offer you shortcuts that dismiss your pain. No, they're going to sit with you in the messy complexity of your suffering, and they'll handle your story and God's story with real reverence. So a humble posture is the foundation, right? But how does that internal attitude actually show up in external, verifiable practice? How do you get the proof? Well, it starts with ethics. A humble counselor sees professional ethics not as just some red tape they have to get through, but as a gift. These are the guardrails that are there to protect you from preventable harm, like blurred boundaries or breaches of confidentiality. And one of the very first practical signs you'll see of this is something called informed consent. And you really want to pay attention to this. It is not just paperwork. It's a clear, upfront conversation that signals professionalism, transparency, and a deep respect for you as a person. Remember, your safety is absolutely paramount. A safe counselor will never, ever pressure you to share something before you're ready. They get that while growth can be uncomfortable, that discomfort has to be invited by you, never coerced. And let me just say it plainly. Coercion is not discipleship. So all of this stuff we've talked about, the posture, the ethics, the respect for your autonomy, it all leads to one ultimate litmus test. This is the clearest single piece of evidence you can find of a counselor's humility in action. And here's the truth. No counselor is immune to blind spots. They're human, right? They need to be sharpened and held accountable just like anyone else. A counselor who operates in isolation is a counselor who is vulnerable to causing harm, even if it's completely unintentional. So, here it is, the single most important question you can ask. And you should feel completely empowered to ask this directly. Believe me, their answer is going to reveal almost everything you need to know about their true posture. So what are you listening for? This is what a green flag response looks and sounds like. You want to hear a positive, non-defensive tone. They should be able to clearly describe what their accountability structure looks like and frame it as a protection for you, a non-negotiable part of their work. On the flip side, if they get defensive, if they dismiss the question, or claim they're experienced enough to not need oversight, that is a major red flag. Pride isolates, and isolation is a breeding ground for harm. Okay, let's put all of this together. We've covered everything from that internal posture to the external proof.
Now, let's boil it all down into a powerful, practical tool you can use in your very first conversation. Just take a moment with this slide. Think of it as your quick reference guide. It really summarizes the patterns you're looking for. Are there actions consistently in that green column of humility and safety, or are you starting to see signs from the red column of pride and risk? And as we close out, here's a final thought to take with you. This isn't just about vetting them. It's also about what you choose to prioritize. In your search for healing, how will you choose to elevate true humility over a confident performance of certainty? Answering that question for yourself will guide you to a much safer place. This whole explainer was based on the comprehensive guide from Restoring Hope Ministries. Thank you so much for joining us.